Tonight on the podcast, Max and I sit down as we have an intervention with Lance about his scrotal abuse and how he can't do it anymore.
Welcome to my party. We're just getting started. A life is a dream.
Hey, you know what they say? Shake it once, it's fine. Shake it twice, that's okay. Shake it 3 times, you're playing with yourself. Again, all right? It is Friday Night Phoenix.
Charlotte reference.
Yeah, and you're locked into the best damn podcast in all the land, the Absolute Geek Podcast. I'm Matt.
I am Lance.
I'm Max.
Yes,
Back
we got
from the dead.
Maxie back from, we pulled him over from his time on Quickies to come talk Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. So we're going to do something a little bit different this week. With the writer's strike going on, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about news-wise. Everything is coming to a screeching halt. Daredevil, Born Again, shelved. Blade, shelved. Your Yellow Jackets, shelved. Like, it's affecting all of your current favorite TVs that have not already finished shooting and wrapped. So it's affecting Hollywood. So everything, just as we were getting out of that pandemic, like, slow down. Yeah. Just as we're getting out of that pandemic slowdown, we have a writer's strike. And so content is getting scarce now and everything's being shelved. So
do you remember when we were in COVID? We're like, oh man, when we finally get out of this, it's just going to be heaps of content.
yeah,
Dude,
right.
have we gotten heaps of content? Because I don't feel like we have.
We've gotten
No.
content.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it
What's up,
heaps.
Patrick?
And I would honestly say we're starting to feel some of the after effects of the pandemic in the gaming industry, especially. Like some of the games that are starting to come out now that were like mid-development when the pandemic hit are coming out, and like Jedi Survivor, as great of a game as it is in rough shape. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the pandemic. Like I think development just got messed up. They wanted to hit their deadline still, and we got what we got. At least with the
Guys,
performance.
I forgot part of my uniform.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Now we don't have to see any of
I've-
your bald head. This is
I've
lovely.
heard a lot of bad things about performance on that game, that
Mostly
frame
on
rate
PC.
dropping, and yeah.
Matt, guess what?
What?
I got you one.
Ooh.
I want
yeah.
one. I'll probably have to buy it though. I'm not a regular host anymore. I'll fork over the money.
I bought these for Comic-Con. You like it?
Ooh,
Look at the back. Look at the back.
Nice.
I like
Like
that.
that?
That's cool.
That's cool.
Also, I want to officially say I love the new-ish intro. I mean, I've heard it before, but
Oh, yeah,
I
who
haven't
made
been on the
that?
show.
They did a really good job. Who did that?
That was you, wasn't it? Isn't that you singing too?
No.
No.
That is called Google Audio Library.
Okay, that one's okay.
For
But,
you,
yeah.
buddy.
Since there's nothing to really talk about news-wise, we thought, let's bring on Max and let's talk Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's just do a review show. Talk Guardians of the Galaxy, Ted Lasso, and whatever else we kind of just feel like talking about. So
Let's
it's
do
going to
it.
be free and off the cuff. So let's get into this and talk a little bit about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What'd you guys think?
Oh, did we not have like a cool thumbnail for?
No, I'm sure, dude, like I said, just very relaxed. Just 3 dudes being dudes talking about dudes being guys. I don't know.
Well, Matthew, why don't you give us a synopsis of how we're led into Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
What do you mean? You saw the holiday special like everyone else.
You're the one that said we need to give synopsises before we talk about the review.
Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 follows Peter Quill and the rest of the Guardians as Peter still continues to struggle with his relationship with the now resurrected Gamora after the events of Endgame, which take him on and the rest of the Guardians on an adventure as they come face to face with
Kevin Bacon.
evil doers. So if they come face to face with the Evolutionary, this movie, you learn a lot about Rocket's story and how he came to be and his relationship with the Evolutionary until he got to joining the Guardians. And you kind of see them each struggle with their own individual issues before the James Gunn ties it up, and we come to the final conclusion of the movie.
And that was pretty good. I don't know if you
Yeah,
prepped
that
for
was
that, Matt, but that was
beautiful.
good.
No, I
It was
just
beautiful.
off the cuff, man.
Man, mad skills. Matt over here selling his home, moving into a new one, doing
Man.
amazing synopsis.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
Man.
post the address on the Facebook page. We're
Somebody
Oh
should really-
yeah,
new
that's
house.
Somebody should really pay me for this stuff.
But yeah, man. I know, Matt, you had a lot of grievances with the movie.
I've seen it twice now.
You've seen it twice.
I've seen it
Beautiful.
twice.
Matt, how many times? Or Max, how many times have you seen it?
I've seen it once. I saw it on Monday.
I've seen it once. I gotta say, the grievances are, most of them are justified, but the best part of that story is Rocket.
Oh, 100%.
His start to finish, like, and I don't say finish. So let me address this, and we're going to spoiler mode, right? It's been out for a week.
Yeah, it's been out for a week. Yeah, you're fine.
For months, if not longer, we've been hearing somebody's going to die in this movie. Somebody's going to die in this movie. Everybody thought it was going to be Rocket. Not one fucking person dies in this movie.
I'm actually a little disappointed no one died. I thought the stakes would have been higher. I thought there would have been more emotional impact if somebody died. I got really nervous and also excited when it looked like Star-Lord was about to die. I'm like, does Marvel have the balls to do this? Like, I know they do because they did it with Iron Man, but they took 10 years of building up to that, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, are they really going to kill him? I'm glad they didn't because I do want to see Chris Pratt as Star-Lord again. But I was actually a little disappointed. Like, you couldn't kill any of them. Drax, like Dave Bautista said, he's done. He doesn't want to do this franchise anymore. You couldn't have just killed him off.
I was expecting some sort of finality to his story, to Drax. And Gamora said, Zoe Saldana says she's done as well. So
Unless
whatever
the
story
paychecks
we
are
get,
big enough, right?
I guess. But her big problem was kind of the Jennifer Lawrence issue. She was tired of the makeup, and she didn't want to be tied down to any one thing. So, but yeah, man.
Honestly, I can understand that. I've never been put into green makeup every single day to do a job, but I can imagine that would be a pain in the butt.
Dave Bautista, like, I think the whole James Gunn firing thing, like, because that's when we started hearing news like that he's going to be done after James Gunn got fired. I think he's fed up with Disney in general.
Oh yeah, and he also, I know he wants to expand his acting career. He doesn't want to just be like The Rock, one of those
Yeah.
WWE guys that comes in and just does action and that's it. Obviously, The Rock has made tons of money. But Bautista has some degree of acting chops. Sometimes he does stuff that I'm like, like, I think Dune, as much as I like that movie, I think he's pretty bad in it.
Yeah.
But he has a short role in Blade Runner 2049. He was really good in that. Like,
I hear
was
Knock on the
great.
Cabin is pretty dang good.
I've heard good things. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't either.
But anyway, I loved the movie. Like, I want to get into Matt's grievances too, and like we can talk about them. I know one of them is Adam Warlock, and I think I agree with that grievance. But overall, I really enjoyed it. It's one of the best Marvel movies I've seen in quite a while. I've been pretty disappointed in Marvel ever since anything after No Way Home, pretty much.
Mhm.
Unless Shang-Chi was after No Way Home, I forget. I really liked Shang-Chi. That was great.
Shang-Chi was before.
Okay. So pretty much everything since No Way Home has been meh at best, and well, good at best. Doctor Strange was good. Wakanda Forever was good, but like this was a pretty great movie. It was a bit
Now,
better than good.
You said it was the best thing that you've seen from Marvel since Endgame, and I think Spider-Man's a bit better.
I don't think I said that. Since No Way Home, yeah.
Read the receipts.
I'm gonna have to look at my post because if so, I will edit it because definitely don't agree.
No, it was
with
in their
that.
text.
Oh, I said since Endgame. Well,
Mhm.
then that's wrong. I meant to say No Way Home because No Way Home is fantastic. So overall, I mean, Rocket's story was really good. I loved that. I loved seeing Adam Warlock. I just thought he was criminally mistreated. I thought the High Evolutionary was not a great villain. I've heard people say that they think he's like really, really good. I thought he was
Oh, I
fine.
enjoyed him.
I enjoyed him
a lot.
I enjoyed him too, but I didn't think that he like ranked any better than other Marvel villains. Like people were putting him up there with the likes of Killmonger, and I'm like, no, man, Killmonger was a much better villain. Thanos, much better villain. Loki, way better. Like, I don't think High Evolutionary was.
No, I wouldn't put him above Killmonger. The reason Killmonger is so good is Michael B. Jordan's a fantastic actor, and B, the reason he's a villain is real. Does that make sense? Like, there's a lot of
a lot of people can relate to it.
Yeah. And then Loki is his charisma and personality. He's like kind of villain-ish.
High Evolutionary is a freaking space Hitler, and he is. I mean, he's all about creating the perfect race, like the perfect society. Like he's
with a god complex. Yeah,
with a god complex. Like,
which you could argue Adolf Hitler had a god complex.
Yeah, you absolutely could. And like, nobody that I know, any sane person, is going to say anything good about that man. I don't find villains that are like that super interesting personally, even though it is realistic. We have seen that in real life, unfortunately. But I didn't find the High Evolutionary.
And I'm understanding everything you're saying, but the whole reason I liked him is because I thought the actor did a really good job.
The actor did good. I liked what the actor did with it for the most part. I thought he yelled way too much, but that may have been direction more than anything.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed that they killed him off in the end, because I thought maybe he could have crept up at a later time, or, I don't know. I can agree with that. He appears often in the comics, doesn't he, Matt? The High Evolutionary. Do you feel like they shortchanged him a little bit?
I do, yeah. Because I mean, he had the potential. Like I said, I feel like this movie, to me personally, was the High Evolutionary should have been the bad guy in Guardians 2 and Guardians 3. Like, it's just they needed more time to flesh him out. Even that 2.5 hours didn't do justice to him, because really you didn't really see much of him. Like, okay, you understand that he wants to create the perfect race. He's got this god complex, but the majority of the movie was told through flashbacks from Rocket. And so your most interesting character, who's laying there dying on a table, is the one who's giving you all of your pieces for this movie.
Yeah. His interactions, the High Evolutionary was at his best, in my opinion, when he was interacting with Rocket.
Yeah.
Those were the best moments. Especially when Rocket was little. Like, goodness gracious, that was some good stuff. Like, I loved seeing all that. And I don't know if Bradley Cooper did the voice and they like digitally altered it to sound more kid-like, but I loved Rocket voice.
Young Rocket voice is actually Sean Gunn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Now that you say
Really?
that, like, I can kind of hear that. Yeah,
We canceled too many shows, apparently. That's good.
Hey, Hartman, you start paying them, they're going to show up more. Patreon.com/Absolute Geek. I actually don't know.
I think, like, for me, though, like I said, I think the fact that the High Evolutionary was the main bad guy in the Guardians video game, it felt.
Wait,
like
was he though?
Like, yeah.
I thought it was Magus.
No, it's the High Evolutionary.
I don't know. I really don't remember that. Like, when I Googled it, I thought it was Magus. I restarted the game. I got to get to the end. I don't.
But like, Adam Warlock, dude. Adam Warlock came 6 years too late. Like, it was 6 years ago they showed that stupid cocoon at the end of Guardians 2, and then nothing about him. He should have been here in Infinity War. You took one of the most powerful. You took one of the most powerful entities in Marvel, and you
reduced him to a
infantile child. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree with that.
It was just hard to watch for me.
That bugged me.
All I saw that dude on screen when he came flying. I was like, "Hey, look! It's the kid who got his nuts bit by a spider, and we're the Millers." Yeah,
The actor did not bother me, but the direction of the character bothered me.
That he's pretty much just he's a hired hand because the rest of can't think of the fucking name of the
gold
race right
people.
now. Yeah, I can't think of the name of the race right now. I'm so tired. Just because they didn't want to get wiped out by the high evolutionary. Yeah, it kind of just watered down his whole.
Which, by the way, like
but-
they were so scared of him. They had the most powerful being in the universe, or one of them, and he was killed by a raccoon.
Oh, he was mangled by the raccoon at first.
Yeah, but he didn't seem that tough after everything is said and done.
No, he didn't. And again, going back to Adam Warlock, that was my issue. Like, he came onto the scene, and I'm like, he's going to F up nowhere. Like, this place is going to be in shambles. They're going to have to run away. Nope. He ran away. I thought Adam Warlock was like Superman level. I thought he was supposed to be like really, really powerful. So that just, I don't know. That was a big bummer for me. But I do agree that the high evolutionary being taken out by a raccoon was kind of, what the heck?
Guy's gonna drive me nuts now because I can't think of the name of that race, and my brain's just like not computing right now. Anyways, it'll come to me, but honestly, I think what it is with this movie too is after 3 movies, I kind of felt maybe I know Sam said he kind of felt the same way. Like the forced laughter of like Drax and the jokes and the humor, it was all there, but it was all very predictable. Yes, the Sovereign, thank you. It was all very, very predictable.
Yeah. He wasn't, I don't feel like he was as prevalent in this movie as he was in other movies. Him and Groot, it seemed more Pratt, Nebula, Rocket, except for Rocket when's dying on the gurney or whatever. Gamora's not in, like, it felt like the direction of these movies in the future are, oh hey, by the way, Star-Lord and Nebula are going to be in a relationship eventually. Like they almost took center stage. Did not feel that way?
Not as much to me. I know they made jokes, but I don't know if they were actually going there.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like they were leaning towards Nebula and Star-Lord being in a relationship. I get where you felt like you could feel like that because I kind of even did it times too. I was like, are they trying to like
force feed this
or bow these two up? But it's, I don't know where I want to go with this. I don't feel like it was like they're trying to force that relationship. Like it's just some natural. It almost felt like kind of like a brother-sister relationship to me a little bit. But I did kind of get the feeling of, okay, where are they going with this? Are they trying to get Nebula to be the new replacement for Gamora while Gamora's still there? I don't know. It just felt all very kind of off pace to me and off, like they definitely want you to see her character growth from the events of all these movies, like what happens at the end of Endgame into, what happens at Guardians 2 and Endgame into this movie. They want you to see the growth of Nebula and how much the effects of what Thanos has done to her has had on her and to where she's being. But she becomes this very like strong, gruff protector almost, where she's more important. The people of nowhere and their main goal is more important than whatever love sickness Peter has.
I did think the beginning seeing Star-Lord or Peter or whatever, like kind of drinking himself into oblivion. I liked all that, kind of showing how, I think they effectively showed you how messed up he is at losing Gamora. And imagine if you lost somebody that way and then you still see him around all the time. And it's not the same person.
That would be so weird. That would be really, really weird.
Like,
and I think they did a decent job with that.
And then came back.
So going back to the humor thing, I agree with you, Matt, that like the humor was pretty predictable. Like when Peter was talking to Gamora and bearing his soul, I had a feeling that eventually everyone was going to start making fun of him for it. I just didn't realize that he thought he was on a private channel. Like stuff like that. Like that was pretty lowbrow, predictable comedy. But I don't know, it didn't bug me, I guess. I still found the humor to be charming, and mostly I appreciated that this movie didn't lean on the humor too much. It was more balanced than the other two were.
Well, like one scene in particular is when they're on this Earth 2, right? And the high evolutionary ship is taking off, and Peter and Nebula and Groot are going to the ship. They tell Mantis and Drax to stay behind. And Mantis and Drax like clotheslines this dude on a motorcycle and then takes it and tells Mantis to get on. He's like, we're going to go back to the ship. And she's like, the ship right there? And he's like, yes. And then so it cuts forward and Nebula's calling to them like, Drax, Mantis, where are you? Bring the ship. And I was like, they're going to show up right behind her. It's going to be that shtick where they're going to just show up. She's going to turn around and they're going to be right there. And that's exactly what it was. And like the forced laughter of Drax when like he gets off the ship and he hits the little girl in the face with the ball, and then they start throwing rocks at Peter and the rock hits Peter in the face, so he starts laughing. Like there's just a lot of the forced laughter and jokes were just kind of felt a little bit recycled to me. I think honestly with this movie, without the Rocket storyline, this movie is a complete throwaway. If I'm being 100% honest,
the Rocket storyline does make it. You're right.
It saves it.
You're bringing up so many points that I'm like, oh, I didn't like this movie as I thought I did. I didn't like this movie as much as I thought I did. But then I remember the Rocket storyline, and it's so good that I still stand by how I feel about the movie overall. But you're not wrong. There are some issues.
I feel like don't get me wrong, the High Evolutionary is a villain, comic book wise, is a strong villain that can carry this movie. And I feel like they again didn't let that character play out, didn't do it justice. It was just poor writing in trying to shove as much as you can in 2.5 hours. Like it almost felt like there's a lot more left on the table that they made James Gunn cut out in order to make this movie hit a certain runtime. Because even like the Rocket stuff felt a little like you don't know why he's doing tests on raccoons. You don't know really if Rocket had this superior intelligence or what he did to Rocket to grant this superior intelligence. Like I think a lot of that was very, very graphic in nature. So I kind of wonder if Disney was like, all right, well, we need to tone this down. We need to cut this out. You need to give us the least graphic scenes in the bare minimum to make this movie work. And I kind of feel like that's what was done.
We got Marvel's first F word.
We did get Marvel's first F word, yes. Which I actually thought that scene was pretty funny.
When he says push the button and she's pushing the keyhole.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Push the button. Yeah, okay. Open the fucking door. Because I think we've all been like, I think that scene works because we've all been there. Like there's times where like you're trying to tell your kids or something to get in the car or do something, and you're like, open the fucking door. Like just open it. Quit screwing around. But
I had one of those moments earlier today trying to take my son out to lunch. He's gotten into this phase where I can't put him in his car seat anymore. He has to crawl his own way in, and it takes forever. And I'm trying to get out of the door, and he has to crawl through the underneath it and then into the middle seat and then make his way back. It's like a whole thing. And then he wants to buckle the top thing himself. And I'm like, I don't want to like discourage this, but I do want to get going.
Get in your effing seat.
Yes, exactly. Like, dude, get in the seat.
Yeah, I definitely
And
sympathize.
Lance is like, I've got 5 of those.
Yeah, we took the kids out today because Anna wanted to take the kids out, and fucking every time we go, I say, "See, this is your fault. You wanted to take the kids out, then now you're mad because they act like assholes. Your fault, not my fault. Your fault." They're complete assholes.
But she's got the trump card on you. She's like, all you had to do was have sex with me. I had to go through 9 months of difficult labor and birth each of them. She's got the trump card, man.
Yeah, but I had to go through 9 months of dealing with her.
Oh,
The things you'll say when you know your wife doesn't watch your podcast. Huh?
Happy Mother's Day, Anna.
But like, I think that too, there's characters in this movie that the video game really let shine, and this movie didn't. Like Cosmo, man. Cosmo is an awesome character that really didn't get a lot of shine other than the whole.
They made her a talking dog.
Well, she's
Yeah,
a
this is
talking
a
dog
joke.
in the comics too.
That's
but-
all she is in this movie.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
just
and then
a
the
comedic
sidekick.
relief talking dog.
helping everybody escape at the end. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the game, Cosmo's like a big deal.
Oh yeah, he runs nowhere in the
Yeah.
game.
yeah,
But here I felt like, oh, it's Airbud, and now he talks.
but the one shining part of this movie though was the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was awesome.
That was a banger. For
There's
sure.
some new ones in there, some newer ones. They were going like 70s for a while there, 60s, 70s, and then open it up with Radiohead.
Mm.
I was like, oh, okay. So James Gunn does listen to things other than what my dad listens to.
And like the Cure, they got the Cure in there, and then
Well, he had his Zune, man. He had some more modern music finally.
It had Florence and the Machine in it.
yeah, files all the way up to 2000s.
Yeah, man.
That's why I so badly, and I know it'll never happen because Ant-Man was that in, but I so badly want to see an Edgar Wright Marvel movie. Because that the music would be phenomenal. I mean, think Baby Driver and like all these movies that Edgar Wright, all of his movies have a heavy musical component. Ant-Man would have been so much better with Edgar Wright.
Maybe.
We'll never know.
Well, he still gets writing credits on all of them because he wrote most of that story. But Marvel didn't allow him to fully execute
Realize
his vision.
his vision. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
So are we gonna call down a Marvel and offer to be writers on their stuff? There's a strike going on. Now's our chance.
these
No.
apps,
I'm good.
I'm good too. I don't
There's
wanna
somebody
do that.
else who's, more capable of screwing it up, already doing a great job. So
We want to
I
run
mean,
things in the ground. Now's our chance.
I'll have to say, like, from the movies that have come out past, we'll call No Way Home kind of that end factor, like, it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Guardians more than Thor Love and Thunder, more than Doctor Strange
yes.
2, more than Wakanda Forever. It's kind of right there with Ant-Man. I think my big problem with this movie is that when you go to a movie, you're paying this money to be immersed in this world, right? You want to be in this world, and you want to be in this world for the duration of the film and however long it is. And I felt like there were times where that happened in this movie, and then there are times where I fell out of that. So like at the beginning when they're kicking off the movie, I felt like, all right, cool. I'm in this world. Like you felt like you were in nowhere. You felt like you were just a resident of nowhere, watching them fix everything up, walking on the street, Adam Warlock attacks, boom, bing, bang, boom. Like you feel like you're part of that world. But then when they get in the ship to go to space and they go into that like living ring area and they've got like the multicolored like suits.
Yeah,
seeing Nathan Fillion in that stupid, like oversized suit that he was in, where he looked like a giant bed bug or like a giant sand crab. I was like,
man, I thought that was funny.
I'm out of it. Like, I just fell out of it. I was like, I'm gone. And then I think too, like a lot of the stuff with the rocket kind of brought you back, but like, it just like this, it was like riding a wave of I'm immersed in this world. I'm back. I'm in this world. I'm back. I'm in this world. I'm back. I'm in this world. I'm back. And it wasn't like this consistent string of like Baby Driver. You feel like from the minute that movie starts, you're in this world. You're part of this world, or you're watching these events take place in front of you, and it's not just a movie. And I think a lot of times I fell out of that with Guardians, and
I can see that. It's
kind of been like that with Marvel for a while now. Like it's not. I almost feel like
I feel like No Way Home was the last movie from start to finish you were totally immersed.
Starting to see the superhero genre fatigue. And I think it's just because there's so much of it so fast now.
See, and I feel like that's, and no offense to what your comment was, Matt, I feel like that's a cop-out, though. Because I feel like that if Endgame came out today, if we had all the movies that we've had, right, and Endgame came out today, Endgame would still be a fucking phenomenal movie. I feel like the writing has tapered off. I feel like writing has tapered off.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that.
I agree. And I think there are some issues as well with the idea that they're trying to build again. And there's some degree of slow burn in the movies, building towards more things. And it's just, we're used to payoff. And maybe we're a little impatient, but I do think that the writing is just kind of bad. Now, you guys may disagree with what I'm about to say, but The Batman is probably one of the last movies I can think of that I saw in theaters that made me feel the way you guys are talking about, where I was just like, I'm in this world. I'm not at a movie. I'm in Gotham right now. One that came out after that, actually, Top Gun Maverick was another one. Like I've still only seen that movie once, but that was just a great theatrical experience. Like I was immersed in that.
Well, I think a lot of that too goes with your theater sound system. Like if you were in a theater that had the Adobe, the Atmos sound system, like when those jets are taking off, like your seat rumbles, like you hear it, you feel it. Like
I could hear the theaters next to us when we were in a quiet moment and they were in a loud moment. You could feel it from the other room. It was so intense.
Yeah. And I think go ahead, Matt.
I saw Guardians at Harkins, and that was a fucking shit show.
I saw Guardians at Fat Cats.
Yeah, me too.
Is that your new favorite theater?
I don't know about favorite. It was a cool.
You sent me a text and said Fat Cats is fucking awesome. Is exactly
it is like
what you said.
Yeah, like sitting there and them delivering your food to your seat.
It's good recliners. They're comfy.
Yeah.
The only issue I have, and this may not be every theater, I go to the Queen Creek one pretty much always now. It gets freaking hot when you've got an opening night movie and you've got a packed theater. I get sweaty. Like I literally
Harkins was the same way.
The Harkins
burning up in Harkins
is like cold.
I gotta turn that thing down to like 69 degrees so that once you get all the bodies in there, it's like 75 or something, because it seriously felt like 80 plus degrees in that room. I was so
You're
hot.
also sitting on a leather seat that conducts heat.
Yeah.
So like your body heat literally is that leather seat is not making it any better.
No, it's just the seat. Sure. The seat probably had a seat warmer and Max accidentally turned it on.
No, they don't have them there, but I have done that accidentally at the AMC.
Yeah, AMC has seat warmers
over there.
I'm like, do you realize where you're at? Why do you need fucking seat warmers? seat coolers is what we need.
It's true. Wouldn't that be lovely? That would be awesome.
Some new cars have them.
Yeah.
Blow a fan right up your butt. Matt
someday
sure
when
That's the only thing I like.
Max is getting a Hummer from his theater seat.
no longer need to get hand jobs at the theater from a girl with you. The
Yeah.
seat will take care of you.
Pee Wee Herman style.
Oh man.
So, I mean, overall, what is your overall feeling and grade would you give Guardians 3?
I feel like I saw two different movies. Like, I feel like the Rocket stuff was 10 out of 10 in my opinion. But then the rest of the movie is like 4.5, maybe. It's just, it felt like two different people wrote this movie and smushed it together, because there were so many heartfelt moments, and then you have Drax throwing a kickball at a bunny girl. Do you know what I mean? That like completely distracted from the heartfelt moments. I just feel like they didn't balance it effectively. Like, you have all this heart and warmth, and then you have this slapsticky, is that the word? Slap.
Yeah.
You know, part that just doesn't complement the heartwarming parts. I feel like the last movie that I saw where it was, you know, they had the humor mixed in with the heartwarming stuff, that they actually did it well, was Spider-Man. Like, because you laugh in that movie in No Way Home. I mean, when fucking Andrew Garfield gets a bagel thrown at his head or whatever, I mean, you laugh in that movie, but it doesn't distract from the emotion that you're feeling when things are getting heavy. This felt like a distraction. It felt like nobody knew what movie they wanted to make.
Well, that's an issue in a lot of Marvel movies, and it's something that I can't remember. There's a technical term for it, but it's this idea of like taking a powerful emotional. Well, but no, there's like a thing. There's like a term for it. I remember watching a video about it. But this idea of you have an emotional moment, and then you just, rather than ending it emotionally, you end it with a joke, and it's like a shocking joke moment. And that used to be an impactful way to tell a good joke, but now it's become so common, especially in the MCU, that it's lost value, and it just can be frustrating to me. So I do agree with you. Like, there's sometimes they make it too much of a joke. I didn't think that this one was as bad though. Like, Guardians 2 was worse with that, in my opinion.
Guardians 2 is a bad movie, and I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, it's so awesome."
I like it. I like all three of those Guardians movies, but 2 is definitely the weakest. It's definitely the weakest. I think Guardians 2 starts pretty good, and then it kind of just goes off the rails with ego and everything. It just kind of gets a little bit too much. But I still enjoy it as a movie. But Guardians 1 is the best. This one is my second favorite. I am struggling to give a score. I gave one on my Facebook, and I ended up on an 8 out of 10. But I originally
Jesus.
Well, I originally had put 7.5 out of 10, and then, you know, someone was talking to me about it in my comments, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, maybe it is an 8. But no, I think 7.5 is more fair, and I know that doesn't come down a lot. You obviously have a different opinion, but I think it's about a 7.5 out of 10. It's a good movie. It's
right in the middle of
amazing.
the two that I said.
I mean, if you're going out of 10, I'll give you 7.5. I'll agree with that.
Okay.
I wouldn't go 8. I would even maybe lean more towards 7, but I'd definitely leniently give you the half.
The fact of the matter is that this movie at a lot of times had me kind of like grinning ear from ear. The big fight scene at the end where the team gets all back together, they go on the ship and they start, you know, that hallway or whatever where they're just slaughtering those cyber
that was awesome.
animals. It was fucking awesome seeing all of them fight again. But the majority of this movie, everybody's separated. So you don't even really get that big team moment until the end of the movie when they save all the little kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a bit of separation. They're together for the first act, and then
I mean,
the second and most
but
of the
not
third
even
act,
fully.
yeah.
I mean, Gamora's not.
Yeah,
Gamora's not there, so it's not
That's
even.
true.
You don't even get the full team until that scene when they're in that hallway and
Yeah.
they infiltrate that ship.
well, I feel like too, if you look at the main cast, like Drax and Mantis were kind of wasted. There was really no reason for them to be there other than the comedic relief at a lot of times, because you look at it. So you had, you know, Peter, who was, you know, still lovesick over Gamora, and why not trying to deal with the fact that the Gamora he knows is dead, and that this Gamora from the past is not the same Gamora and doesn't have the same feelings that them for him, and that he's trying to change her, and she kind of even gives off that vibe too, like saying, you know, I'm not the same Gamora that you knew. I'm not going to be that person. And you kind of have him like searching for that connection. Then you have Nebula kind of wanting to be, you know, she's essentially in charge of Nowhere now, and worried about Nowhere and taking care of that. So she's focused there. Groot's kind of along for the ride. Rocket's fighting for his life. Really, you know, Mantis and Drax had no direction in this movie.
Except
what
Mantis,
was there?
Mantis, every time she falls into a hole, lands on her head for some reason.
Well, I hear you on Mantis. I don't have much of a disagreement there, but Drax definitely has some good moments near the end when he can like speak the language of those kids, and he's really instrumental in making sure that they get saved.
Yeah,
I like
that was
seeing
such
the
a Marvel
dad
trope, though. That was such a Marvel trope of like, okay, you know, of course, it's the guy that doesn't, you know, that everyone thinks is a joke and can speak this language, and then he ends up calling them little morons. And you know, it just felt like that's always been kind of such a Marvel crutch that they've used time and time again.
Oh, like the almost like the stereotypical dumb dad from 90s sitcoms.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I kind of saw it coming that he would be that guy, because his whole reason for being on the team to begin with is because his whole family was killed.
Yeah, his quest for revenge on Thanos.
And then all those little kids are girls. He loses a daughter. It just made perfect sense. So I kind of saw it coming. When I saw those kids, I was like, oh, they're going to save them all, and Drax is going to be the hero to these kids. Jib jib.
I like seeing that. My, you know, one of my things I didn't like was all the Cat in the Hat looking characters on Counter Earth. I thought they looked terrible, most of them. Maybe that was just me, but it reminded me of the Cat in the Hat movie from like 2004 and how that guy looked.
Anybody else get excited for Ninja Turtles when he mutates the turtle? And I was like, that's how they should look. That's how they should look.
Yeah, okay. I actually thought that like that guy looks cool. And there was one, it was the pig. I was like, oh dude, that's Bebop. That's Bebop right there, man. That's a cool Bebop.
Yeah, War Pig.
Yeah, I mean Bebop, you don't want him to necessarily look that bad, but like in a more like gritty version, like that was a cool looking Bebop.
I'm excited for Mutant Mayhem.
I'm not.
I think
The more I
it
see
looks
about that movie.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, the more I see about that movie, the more I don't want to watch it.
I wish I was excited. I'm not, man. I'm really not a fan of the art style, but I also said the same thing about Spider-Man, and it ended up being one of my favorite superhero movies ever.
It's nearly the same as Spider-Man.
Yeah, but there's something about it that I'm not liking. But again, maybe in practice I'll love it.
It has a little bit more of a 3D element to it than Spider-Man does. Like there's more shadowing, which is understandable because these turtles fight in the dark, right? There's more shadowing. There's more light on their skin and stuff. Like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has a very 2D look to it, and this has more of a 3D look to it. But they're very similar, very comic booky.
Yeah, I'm stoked for the Spider-Man sequel, dude. I'm stoked for that. Comes out on my birthday.
So Max or Lance, what's your opinion and score? Final opinion and score on Guardians?
I kind of gave it 10 out of 10 for the rocket stuff, 4.5 for everything else.
So that average out to what, like 7?
7.
Okay. Yeah, I thought 7 too. Like it was a nice ending. It didn't really there was absolutely nothing that pushed it forward. Like you expect like the after credit scenes and stuff to really push Marvel forward into whatever they're doing. And I think really with the Jonathan Majors stuff being up in the air, and this whole roadmap they have is kind of gone now. So they're like, ooh, well, maybe we just throw in an after credit scene of Peter sitting at his grandfather's table eating cereal instead of trying to use it to move the needle forward. And they've kind of haven't done that with they haven't really done that with Marvel movies since Endgame. Like they haven't really used the after credit scene to set up the next movie. And
Eternals kind of did.
What, the reveal of Star Fox?
Well, it's kind of setting up
and
to what
the Blade voiceover of a movie that's probably never going to fucking get made.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just playing devil's advocate here a little
Yeah,
bit. Those
Ant-Man
two scenes are
definitely
meant-
is building up to stuff with their post credit. Like that's Kang.
The Kang stuff. Yeah, but now we don't even know if that's going to happen because they
They
might
can
pivot.
recast him.
It'll happen. They're just going to recast him.
They might pivot away and focus on a Galactus or a Doctor Doom or somebody else to carry the next.
Well, they can't because they
Whatever
have
year
Kang
Marvels.
Dynasty coming out.
Well, this writer strike's going to mess a lot of stuff up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're already talking about changing the title for Captain America 4. The title of the New World Order is already under discussion to be changed. So they could change the name of that Avengers movie and not have it be Kang Dynasty.
They could, but I don't think they will. They could. I think they'll stick with Kang. I think they can recast him. They've done it with so many others.
It's just
not
a shame
main
'cause
villains.
Jonathan Majors
before.
is good.
He's a very good actor, but it's looking like these allegations are actually true. So I'm not super supportive of someone who's beating their girlfriends.
And one of the
Especially
people,
when you're built like a freight train.
And one of the people that are having allegations for him against him worked with him on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So
if he's a danger to his coworkers,
yeah.
Which, okay, so there was allegations against him from somebody that's part of the crew for a Marvel movie,
Mm-hmm.
and Marvel's only now discussing changing the character because those accusations came to light. That's a bad look.
Well, I think it's the James Gunn thing. They're not jumping to conclusions like they did with James Gunn, and they're not going to knee-jerk reaction like they did with Gunn, and later find out that those allegations weren't true.
which I'm actually in agreement with. Like,
and so I think it was, it was like, okay, well, we'll investigate this. We'll figure this out. And then it was under the radar. It hadn't been broken in the media yet. It was under the radar. And then once it became public, that's when Marvel was like, all right, well, we can't get around this anymore. And now they're going to have to try to address it one way or another.
I don't understand. Like, I don't remember in the comics, like with Kang, he doesn't always look the same, right?
No, he's got several different.
So why does it all have to be the same actor?
It technically doesn't, but
get a whole host of actors.
Budget wise, how many people do you want to pay to play this role?
I think it'd be cool if it was a different person every movie.
you could make it an Oprah style. You get a Kang role. You get a Kang role. You get a Kang role. It could be exciting. I actually don't like that idea. I'd rather have one person.
Let's get a Kang where one's Burt Kreischer.
he should claim that it was a Jonathan Majors from a different timeline.
I like that. Joe's dueling. I like it.
Yeah, for me, Guardians was a fun, for the most part, emotional ride with character development that was lacking. Adam Warlock and
was they shit the bed with Adam
character
Warlock.
That they really. I understand in the comics when he comes out as Cocoon, he still kind of had that infantile mindset, but there was a lot of stupid moments with, like, they really dumbed him down. And I feel like it's almost like a trope with that actor, like almost that's kind of like a tight cast that he's under. It's kind of like the bumbling idiot and the lovable bumbling idiot. Adam Warlock really had no place in this movie. He's
heavily underutilized.
Very much so. Literally, it was just like, all right, well, we need a reason to have the events of this movie kick off. Okay, well, we teased Adam Warlock 6 years ago. We should probably do something with him. Cool. You don't even see him come out of the cocoon or anything. So it's like, all right, well, he just shows up and he's gonna go after Rocket, and that's what's gonna kick off the events of the movie. And
well, did you hear? So James Gunn he came out and said that Marvel basically forced him to use Adam Warlock.
Well, he should have used Adam Warlock 6 years ago in Infinity War. Since he was the actual keeper of the Soul Stone, he had it in his freaking head. So, but Other than that, for me, the team dynamic was good as always, even though I felt like Drax and Mantis were kind of along for the ride and really didn't have anything to do. And then you kind of even got that. Like, I feel like they got their time to shine in the holiday special. And then it was like, all right, well, James Gunn was like, well, we're gonna give you this in the holiday special because we really don't have anything for you to do other than just be there in Guardians 3 as support. So I felt like Cosmo was underutilized. I liked seeing that Kraglin got a little bit more love in this movie, even if it was comedic relief. They really tried with that character as much as they could. In true James Gunn form, he's showing his favoritism by casting his wife in this movie again and his brother in this movie
so fucking
again.
hot. What is she doing with that dude?
But
that's
a
miscast.
His paycheck is bigger than yours.
She plays the person that gets shot in the leg. She's like running that weird
Max is
bio.
so unimpressed. He froze with just this absolute scowl on his face.
Yeah, man, I don't know what the frick's going on. No, that's not any better.
Let's stay there. It's that movie. That's awesome. Dissatisfied Max.
I was like, am I boring him? Like, what is happening right now?
Nope, I froze for some reason.
She plays like the head security officer or something, that big bio cube thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She gets shot in the leg at one point.
Yeah, is that the one that Peter was flirting with?
No.
That was his wife? No. Okay.
That's the record keeper person. Yeah. She's wearing like a skull cap, almost like a swim cap thing, like a white thing.
I think I know what you're talking about now. She is a gorgeous woman. I didn't recognize her because.
Oh yeah, she's one of my favorite parts of Peacemaker.
Usually I see Peacemaker, and I'm like, oh dang, yeah, she's.
I feel like for a movie that was billed to be a definitive end to the Guardians, like the last of this Guardians story, you really didn't get a definitive end for these characters. Gamora goes out,
no one dies.
They don't have to die to give you an
Somebody
end,
should have died.
It makes it feel like it's still open because Gamora goes off with the Ravengers again, and then you got Peter Quill who goes back to Earth. Rocket is the new head of the new Guardians team. Drax is going to stay behind in nowhere to help Nebula, and then you've got Mantis who just goes off on her own.
I want to see a movie with Drax and all those kids, like 101 Dalmatians style.
They all get
cheaper by the dozen.
Like him on a piano. He's a struggling songwriter. Cruella de Vil.
Give us a one shot.
Yeah,
a little 10-minute short film.
But
I think 7 out of 10 for me.
Can I tell you something that I'm really not excited about? Because they kind of tease it like
nobody's going to anyways.
Fuck you. If they're gonna make another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the team that they showed at the end of that movie, I'm
awful.
Not interested in.
Me neither. It's a bad team. Not a fan. I like some of them. Like I think Adam Warlock being on the team could be interesting. I like Kraglin.
Well, that girl is supposed to be Phyla. What's her name? She eventually takes over for she's Captain Marvel. Phyla.
Her powers looked Captain Marvel like. I don't know. I just don't know these characters as well. So my initial thought
she's like the daughter of Captain Marvel, the male Captain Marvel.
Yeah. But they changed her origin a lot for this movie. But is it Phyla-Vell? Yeah, Phyla-Vell. Here's another thing. Like, why the fuck haven't we got Nova yet? All three, not this one so much, but the first two movies, Nova Corps. Where the fuck is Nova?
Well, they're supposedly working on a Nova project, whether it's going to be Disney Plus or an actual movie, still is yet to be yet to be seen.
Why did they tease him at the end of this movie? It's prime to tease him. Maybe less Groot dancing poorly and more Nova Corps.
Yeah, that.
Hey, that was
CGI in
cool,
that was
man.
Terrible.
It was a great throwback. Seeing Drax dance finally, that was satisfying. I enjoyed that.
Was
It was bad.
I
terrible.
thought it was.
CGI
I thought it was
terrible.
stupid in the second movie. I thought it was stupid in the first movie.
Wait, you didn't like the dancing scene at the start of the second movie?
It's
The
dumb.
best part of the movie.
That
Oh,
whole
so
movie
good.
sucked.
It is. Baby Groot dancing around is definitely one of the better parts.
That's a
It's just
highlight, man.
kinda cheap.
That and Rocket shooting people up and down in the forest. Those are some of the best scenes in that movie.
I did
cracked
like the
me up.
callback with Rocket on Groot's shoulder again in this movie. Like they kind of slowed it down as he climbs up Groot's back.
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
Last
I
time we
was
saw that, it
hoping-
was Sebastian Stan.
I was hoping that they were gonna show him meeting Groot. That's where I thought they were gonna end the story for Rocket, but they didn't do that. So I want to say I was bummed. I was just hoping to see it end there. How did Groot and him meet?
So really, I think.
Or where the fuck is Thor?
Well, we already know where Thor is. He got dropped off at the event at the beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder. All
Yeah.
this takes place after Thor: Love and Thunder.
I know that, but they don't call him over to come help them save a whole planet. That's the part that drives me nuts about these movies. You have Avengers, and then you have a fucking person coming out of the ground in Eternals, and no Avengers come to help.
I know they try to ride it so that these things happen so fast and resolve so fast that it's like, well, they didn't have time.
Well, they're shitty
But I agree with
superheroes. You come when there's trouble, and 9
And
times out of 10 they don't come.
Especially when there's like a Doctor Strange person who can just literally go anywhere by flipping his finger in a circle.
Well,
You
they're
don't think
trying to-
Hulk could have smashed that big person coming out of the ground to pieces?
No, he's a celestial. He's a god essentially. Like
But they were
That thing
able to
would've-
freeze him in the ground.
that thing would have fucked Thor's, or would have fucked Hulk's face.
He could probably use it. He's so angry all the time.
But I think too, it's that they're trying to show these as like individual threats that these teams can handle, and that the big threats are the only ones that require them all to come up together. Like like Thanos was that
Fucking
one.
god coming out of the ground sounds like a big threat.
But you have other gods in the Eternals that are there dealing with it too, so you don't really need the Avengers.
That the Avengers do not know exist.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that's my biggest issue with these movies is that really every movie should be a team up because everything is world ending now.
But you got to think too, though, the event of Guardians, or not Guardians, but Eternals takes place after the events of Endgame. So there's already the Thanos. Thanos is an Eternal. He's one of them. So it's already those events happen. So they've played out, and the Eternals had that whole thing where we're not going to get involved in human conflicts, and so the Avengers doesn't even know the Eternals exist. And by the time the Eternals movie takes place, the Avengers are disbanded.
And now we might not ever even get another Eternals movie.
I'm okay with that. You don't need
Yeah.
another Eternals movie.
Yeah, I don't think we do either. I just want to see the X-Men, man. That acquisition went through a while ago, and we still haven't seen the X-Men. Other than, a brief teaser.
I think it's being saved for Deadpool.
No, I think it's being saved for the fact that they want to recast those movies with the actors they want, and because there's
they have
that
to wait for the-
embargo, that contract embargo, they're not going to do it until that's up.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
You don't think Disney could go to them and say, "Hey, let's cancel this contract. Here's $1 million."
You don't think they would have done it already if they could? You'd have to pay off each one of those actors because it's written in their contract that if there's an X-Men movie, they're going to be in that role. So it's like you would have to pay every one of those actors on top of paying everyone that you're going to recast.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot.
you're gonna pay, 2 people to play one role. Like it doesn't make sense. That's
I just
kind of
feel
why
like
I
they're
think
missing the
you're
boat,
getting.
man. Everybody's clamoring for X-Men and not even
Well,
really a tease.
just
And there's
saying.
other characters. There's other characters that they could bring in that are, instead of making characters that were never mutants like AKA Miss Marvel. There's other characters they can bring in. You and I talked extensively about this over text. Kitty Pryde is not a character that has any of those contracts tied to her. Jubilee.
No, Jubilee is because she's in the X-Men, the newer X-Men movie.
Is she?
Was she?
I
She
wanna
was
say
in
she's
The Last Stand, I thought, but
I would say she's in Dark Phoenix.
She's in Dark Phoenix?
you might be right.
Or an Age of Apocalypse, I want to say.
Or fucking get Evan Peters and don't turn him into a boner joke.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Or tell us finally that fucking Scarlet Witch is a mutant. Why did they changed Miss Marvel into a mutant and they literally have one there in their ranks. Scarlet Witch. Did not once in Doctor Strange did they bring up that she was a mutant. They just kind of allude to maybe she is.
I mean, they confirmed she's a witch in her show, and that it wasn't just the Infinity Stones that gave her power.
What are some other characters that they didn't bring in X-Men that they could have teased in this? What's the guy that multiplies?
Does Gambit have those contracts? Because he really hasn't been in anything.
No, the only thing he was in was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Well,
Yeah, and then Channing Tatum had something going on, but they never did.
But that was part of I mean, he might have. I don't know.
Who's the guy that multiplies?
Who? Morph?
Well, there's Morph. Then there's the other one that Ben Schwartz wants to play, the rubber guy.
Nah, he's Sonic, man. Just have him play Sonic in the MCU.
No, but he wants to play. He wants to play the rubber guy. That what the fuck is his name?
Are you thinking of Plastic Man in DC?
Oh, does he want to play Plastic Man? No, I thought it was somebody in Marvel.
I don't know.
But there's plenty of other characters that they could use that are
Yeah, but they probably
recognizable.
They probably want the core team. I get that.
Yeah, you want your giant size X-Men core of Beast, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler.
Yeah, you want the A-listers. You don't want the Kite Mans of Marvel.
Oh yeah, he wants to play DC's Plastic Man.
I don't know.
Also has a Marvel character in mind. Who is it?
Should we talk Ted Lasso?
Let's talk Ted Lasso again. I love that show.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, 3 left, right? 3 weeks left.
Stop. My heart hurts.
He wants to play Slapstick, which I don't even know who that is. A little clown with a big old hammer is what he says. I love Ben Schwartz, dude. Put him in more shit.
Yeah, he's good. He's funny. He's the worst.
But yeah, Ted Lasso, man. It's
spoilers again.
Absolutely.
Okay. I read a fucking article that said this last episode is ruining Ted Lasso. And I said, did they watch the same fucking episode I watched? So I was in fucking love with that episode.
I thought it was a great episode. It wasn't my favorite of the season necessarily, but I thought it was really good. I'm trying to remember if it was 2 or 3 episodes ago. There was one, might have been the Amsterdam one. I could not stop watching. I was like, I did not want that episode to end. It was incredible. But this one was really up there. I loved the storyline that they had going on with, can't even remember his name, but
Colin,
thank you. Yeah, the storyline they had going on with Colin, that was really good.
And McAdoo.
And all of that. Like Roy, his arc has been so much fun to watch. He's hilarious.
Another article I read said that they were. What's that?
I was going to say one of the best scenes I've seen in Ted Lasso, completely, like the whole show, is when Roy looks at everyone and he says, "You all know I don't have a hairy arse. You all said nothing."
Yeah, McAdoo, he's right. We are cowards. Another article I read said that this kind of looks like they're pivoting Roy if they do decide to go on with further seasons, because Jason Sudeikis is done after the season, but that they're building Roy up to take control of the team and that future seasons could be Roy as
The head coach.
the coach. I don't know how much because I feel like a lot of this show, the reason it does so well is because of Jason Sudeikis, because he's kind of the heart and the core of this whole show. That if you remove him, I don't know if it's still interesting.
Oh, I do. I think it's still interesting, but I do agree that like Jason Sudeikis and Ted Lasso like bring so much to the story.
But I can kind of agree with that, because if you look, you can kind of see that happening. Like Ted is kind of pulling back more, and these side characters are starting to take more of the forefront. Like you've got your Sam Obasias starting to come up more. You got your like Lance said, Roy Kent's kind of coming forward a little bit more. Keely's even starting to come forward a little bit more.
Rebecca.
And Rebecca, but you kind of see Ted, even Beard having that like father and son moment last week with Ted's kid. You know, even that, and then you kind of just see Ted kind of slowly, even Nate now, you see Ted kind of slowly being pulled out of the forefront. And like, I think a lot of people have an issue with this show this season because it stopped being just the witty, funny stuff, and it started dealing with more like personal events, like the growth of people. Like you see the growth of Jamie from season 1 to season 3. You see the growth of Roy and him kind of coming out of his shell. Like I think the best thing they did to the show is adding Trent Krim to their core group of people. Like I love Trent Krim.
Trent's great. And I this season, if Roy and Keely are not back together by the end of this season, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I don't think it's going that way. I think it's Jamie and Keely.
No, I think it is. And I think the Rebecca pep talk in this episode where she told him to get his shit together and quit sitting on the sidelines and quit putting on this like false macho bravado and go get what you want. I think that was kind of the kick in the ass he needed to be like, all right, I'm going to go get Keely back.
But does it not feel like they're trying to position Jamie into...
Nah, man, that would be poopy.
The problem is you got to watch it with this show is you got to watch out for the misdirects, man. There's misdirects everywhere. Like look at the green matchbook. How many different people have we seen appear with a green matchbook? Like, so you're taking the psychic reading off the first episode of season 3 and you're trying to put these pieces together. So like
green matchbook, what?
Yeah. So the psychic tells Rebecca in the first episode of season 3 that she's going to meet what is it? Shite and Knighting Armor.
Oh, with a green matchbook.
Then there's going to be a green matchbook involved, and then she's going to be a mother. So she goes and she's
pregnant, by the way. I know it.
They say she can't have babies.
Yeah, but she slept with that guy in Amsterdam. She's pregnant with his kid.
She didn't sleep with the guy in Amsterdam.
She did.
No, she did.
The guy says it later. I'm pretty sure the guy alludes to it.
No, in this last the episode before this one, she's talking with is it with Keely? And she says, no, it was just talking and stuff.
She doesn't remember. She asked him the next morning, did we? And he said, no. That leaves the door open. I think they slept together. And she's pregnant with his kid.
Could be right. Because I mean, I can't dismiss any theory in this show because it's so like all the misdirects. Like
it's well written.
He had a green matchbook. Sam gave her a green matchbook. Ted has a green matchbook all of a sudden. So like,
I forgot about the matchbook thing.
The 3 players there, and so you kind of like you've seen Ted be her knight in shining armor. Then you see like when she meets the guy that she went on the date with in the coffee house. And his fiance stumbles and says, "Shite and Knighting Armor," and then the guy and then she says, "Well, you're upside down. You're going to be all wet, but you're safe." That's the dude in Amsterdam. But it's all like culminating, and so he has a kid. So the psychic says, "Well, I see you being a mother. Well, you don't have to actually have a kid to be a mom. You can be a stepmom." So he has a daughter, and Ted has a son. So it's like, all right, like where is this going? Like there's just so many misdirects. And like the whole time that she's having this adventure in Amsterdam with him, Ted's trying to reach out to her. And they've kind of got this, her and Ted kind of have this weird dynamic going on that like I'm very much rooting for them to be together. But it's like in the end, are they going to be together? Because it's just like they there's just so many little things of misdirect. And I think that's what the Jamie thing is. Jamie coming back into her life to apologize for that video leaking is kind of a misdirect to get you off the path of Roy going back with her. Because that's one of the things Aaron says to me, like, by no means she's all for, a gay and lesbian and LGBT relationship, but she's like, it feels so out of place that all of a sudden Keely went from just being all about, Jamie and Roy to just Leslie in a matter of no time. Like, I get she hints and I know that she gets hints and there's that undertone there, but it's just so weird that she went like full on lesbian relationship. But
I think Jack is a bit crazy.
Jack is crazy.
Controlling, very, yes.
There's so many red flags with Jack. So many.
But I just love
whose baby is that? Logan?
Mine. Yeah, it's mine. I just love the evolution of Jamie's character. I love the growth of Roy's character.
He needs to get a fucking haircut.
I like seeing Jamie kind of come up in, her strength, and it's like, it's so good that I don't even Nate, like,
well, that's what I was about to say. Nate, he's
the character,
you hate him at the beginning of this season, and
the character work with Nate has been phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
like, because they made you love him, and because he was so enduring in the first season, and then by the end of the second season, you fucking despise this man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone you talk to, you watch Ted Lasso, fuck Nate,
Yeah.
And then, like, you see him in season 3 and you're just like, oh God, like, that's the first thing Aaron said is like, when you see Nate for the first time in season 3, she's like, oh God, I just want to punch him in the face. And then now you're seeing Nate in a different light.
Yeah,
and
he's got this really great girlfriend, and he's standing up to Richard finally, and Rupert, and like, it's so good, man. The writing, they do such a good job of making you hate characters and then growing to love them. Those are something I always love, those arcs, right? Character you hate turning into a character you love. And Jamie in this show, now obviously they're doing a full circle with Nate, love him, hate him, love him again. But I just can't help but root for him, man. I'm so excited to see what happens by the end of this season, because you're talking Roy for coaching, being the coach for the team, for the Greyhounds.
What if it's
Nate?
Yeah,
see Nate coming in. I think him and Rupert have a falling out by the end of the season, and maybe
well, you kind of start seeing it in this episode when he meets Jade, and then he's like, "Well, let's go for a drink afterwards."
Right through him.
Yeah, and then he's got the 2 women, and he was like, and Nate was like, "Oh no, this is a trap." And like with Nate, man, it's like, you first meet him, Ted kind of builds him up and takes that shy kid and helps him break out of his shell. Rebecca kind of gives him that like cocky confidence. I don't want to say, I don't know if there's one. Yeah, I don't want to say it's confidence, like that, just like cocky bravado. And then Rupert kind of feeds into that and blows it up. But you can kind of see where Jade is like undoing all that, and she's kind of the character that's showing him, look, you can be confident without being cocky, and because that's how she kind of is. She seems like that very confident character, so she's almost bringing that, like, you can be confident without being cocky aspect of it. And that's where Nate kind of starts having that change of heart. And like, I think Ted showing up to the soccer game with Henry and Beard was a big like turning point for him and Nate's relationship. And I definitely see Nate coming back into the fold. Yeah, I think you're right on. Something's going to happen where there's a falling out, and Rupert fires Nate or humiliates Nate, and Ted is there for him and brings him back into the fold. And Nate along with Ted, he helps Ted beat West Ham to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, Ted Lasso moves back to the States at the end of this. And, because they've already said this is the last season of Ted Lasso, but there's potential for spinoffs. Yeah. And I hope we do get spinoffs. I don't want the story to be over for everybody. But if that means Ted is no longer a core character in the series, then maybe he pops up once a season or not at all. That's fine. I've grown to love these other characters enough that I'm cool with that.
This show is so good. Like, I can't believe Jason Sudeikis is like, no, I'm done. I only want to do three seasons and I'm out. Like it's just so it wins tons of awards. It's so beloved. Like I could sit here and theorize on this show for hours.
It's the best thing on television right now. It's so good that like I'm considering after this conversation going back and rewatching season 3, even though I'm still behind on season 3 of Jack Ryan. Haven't even started it. Haven't started the second half of Titans. You know, like I'm behind on. I haven't watched any of Doom Patrol season 4. I'm like, no, I'd rather rewatch Ted Lasso because it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Like this last episode, I rewatched each episode 2 or 3 times because there's always things I miss. Like when I first watched the episode with Aaron the other night, I missed that when Roy's doing the press conference, he calls the new guy from the Independent new Trent.
Yeah.
And then he says, I like you more than the other Trent, an old Trent. I miss that. And then, it's just, there's so many things in this show that you can break down and dissect. And Joe's Doolin says Jack Ryan season 1 was the only real season worth watching.
Yeah, then that's fair. Season 2 wasn't great, which is why
I haven't watched
jumped
any
on
of it.
season 3. Season 1 was good. It was really good.
Well, season 3 is the finale, right?
They're doing season 4. They're releasing it June 30th. I guess they filmed seasons 3 and 4 like right next to each other.
Yeah, 4 is the finale then.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer though, because I love John Krasinski. I was hoping the show would continue to be good. But yeah, dude, I'm so excited. 3 more weeks. The finale is like right before my birthday. That's going to be a...
Target Lopez says, okay, fine. I tear up out of happiness over Nate and his girlfriend.
Me too, man.
I find it funny that she stands like 4 inches over him.
Yeah.
He's so small.
So happy, and he's so happy with her though. Like the issue is Nate never grew up, and now he's been doing all of this growing up over the last like 2 years or however long the series has taken place over. He also has a dad who loves him but has kind of caused some trauma in his life, and so he's trying to like impress his dad. He can never do so.
Yeah, he's always trying to reach for everyone's approval. Like he wants everyone's approval, and when he's getting it, he's on cloud 9. But when he's not being recognized for it, because Ted gave him that, saw his potential, built him up, and then Roy came in the aspect, and he doesn't understand that there's enough room for all of them. He sees it as, well, I'm being replaced. Ted is replacing me with Roy, instead of being like, okay, well, Roy is coming in to help. It's he's being replaced, and that Ted doesn't have enough affection to go around for him and Nate. So now Nate's being pushed aside, and he's having to again struggle to get that recognition that he doesn't get from his father. It all stems back to the way his dad treats him. You're 100% right.
Yeah. Which I love when you can see characters' motivations and understand them so well. Lance, you've been awfully quiet. Do you not like the show?
I love Ted Lasso.
I know you do.
You guys are just... I felt like I talked a lot in Guardians, and now I'm letting you guys lead the show.
I just absolutely love it. I can't say enough good things.
It's a show that I get excited for, that I can't really say that about anything else that's come on in the last year or so. Something that new episode drops, I get notified on my phone, new Ted Lasso is ready to watch. I immediately jump over and watch it.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I have to wait for my wife, and
it's the only show Kelsey and I are watching right now. It's the only thing. And every Tuesday night she gets home from work around 8:30ish, we turn it on. And she doesn't like to stay up late, but she will stay up late with me every Tuesday to watch it. And I'm not pulling her leg. She's excited. Like, I love it. It's just, I look forward to Tuesday nights.
That's how I am, though, Lance. I get the notification around 6:00 our time that Ted Lasso is live, and I'm like, I start looking at my kid. I'm like, go the fuck to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. So I can start so we can sit down and watch it, because my wife gets pissed if I watch it without her. So,
yeah, it's just crazy that this whole thing started from a commercial,
right? And that the writing on it is so good. So ridiculously good.
10 out of 10 show for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely think we need a spin-off of some sort. I just think you got to be careful what character you do it about.
I feel like I could watch a show about Jamie, like going to play on a different team or something.
I'd be fine with it following the exact same team and the same characters if just Ted doesn't want to be on the show anymore. I'd be fine with that, but you can't have the show be Ted Lasso in season 4 if Ted Lasso's not.
Yeah, I think it changes them because the team is starting to kind of take on the Ted's identity a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of see that as like in like the conversations they have in like the locker room and stuff, and that team is definitely taking on Ted's personality. And so I don't know if like following the same Richmond team would work, but it would be interesting to see Nate as a coach of Richmond, or even like I have a feeling the spinoff we're gonna get is like young Roy Kent.
No, go prequel style.
Yeah.
See, I'd rather see this Roy Kent continuing on personally. Like the way he handled that press conference was so good. Like Roy 2 seasons ago could not have done that. And it like gave me chills watching it, seeing him talk about how McAdoo did the wrong thing, but kind of showing grace. Like who can't relate to that? Like everyone I feel like can relate to this idea of something is going on in your life and maybe you lash out and do something you shouldn't have as a result. You know you did the wrong thing. You know you shouldn't have, but you let your emotions get the best of you. That's exactly what happened to McAdoo. And Roy out there saying, I'm not going to excuse what he did, but I'm going to tell you that you don't know what's going on in his life, and we need to like give each other grace. Loved that. Like so wholesome.
And who all thought that the whole reason he was acting this way was because he was a homophobe, and not so much that he was hurt that Colin never told him?
Honestly, I didn't at all. Like I turned to Aaron I go, he's not mad that Colin's gay. He's hurt that Colin didn't tell him or didn't trust him with that news. I was like, I don't feel like he's homophobic at all. I feel like it's honestly, he's hurt that Colin couldn't trust him.
I kind of felt the same way. I was like, I don't think they're going to make McAdoo bigoted. They're not going to do that. And yeah, so I'm with you there, Matt.
I mean, even him and Colin have had that big character change from season 1, because in season 1 they were Jamie's lackeys and bullied Nate, and then Royce kind of set him straight. And since then, you've seen McAdoo rise into becoming the captain of the team, and he takes his captain role seriously, and he's kind of like that. When you speak, it's powerful. He doesn't, he's not a man of a lot of words, but when he does speak, people take notice.
Yeah.
And
how good was that moment when Sam and Jamie are looking at each other and Jamie's trying to get the captain's badge though?
Yeah, he just flips him off. He's like, he just flips him off. Darth Lopez says, "What gave it away for me was when the fan used the F word." Yeah, and he lost his mind. Yeah. But I kind of got that feeling from the rip. I was like, he's not mad that Colin's gay. He's mad that Colin didn't tell him.
Yeah, you're good at paying attention to the misdirects. They're not always going to do the obvious thing in this show.
Yeah. I don't know. I just can't wait to see what happens.
And that's kind of how I look at this show too, because I'm like, all right, there's so many misdirects in the show that like what you're getting, what they're giving you on the surface can't really be what they're going for. So like they're not really going to sit here and give you they're going to give you on the surface that it looks like McAdoo's a homophobe, but then when you're like, that's not the way this show goes, and that's not how they're going to end this. And then I was like, it's going to turn out to be that he's mad because Colin didn't trust him with a secret, or Colin didn't tell him. And lo and behold, that's what it was. And like, it's funny that they're sitting there playing FIFA at the end, and he's sitting there asking him about like gay stuff, like
how do you not pop
I mean, come on, like it's so relatable though, right? Yeah. Like as a horny dude, if I ever had a good friend, I have some friends that are gay, but like no good friends that are gay. If I had a good friend that was gay, I'd want to ask him the same stuff, man. I'd be totally down to have a conversation. That sounds like a funny thing to talk about, a fun thing to talk about. Shoot.
But you know what's funny is that conversation.
I love my wife, but if Rebecca comes calling, I'd be in trouble. I agree, Lopez.
Too tall.
That conversation is a big if you guys remember a few years ago, that was the big reason why a lot of athletes were kind of against having openly gay players on the team. Do you guys remember that?
I remember it to a degree, yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny because I felt like that's probably a real question that a lot of these athletes have.
Who's the most attractive on the team? Who do you?
No, like, hey,
Stuff
this
like that, you
dude's going
mean?
to be in the shower with us and he's going to be sexually aroused by all of us standing naked in the shower. That was a
Oh,
fear
yeah,
that
yeah.
they had.
Yeah.
But
I just like that Ted used the analogy that being gay is the equivalent of being a Denver Broncos fan.
yeah,
I mean, I knew exactly what he was doing with the analogy, but they did a good job with that joke.
Whole mess.
one of
And
them calls him out
especially-
for it too. He goes,
Especially because every any American watching that, well, not any American, most Americans who understand even a little bit about American football get the reference and totally are on board. But I was sitting here listening to this going, these are all a bunch of Brits. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then they paid that off. It was great. What were you saying, Lance?
Jamie, what's a Denver Bronco?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's that?
But yeah, one of them asks him, did you just compare being gay to being a Denver Bronco fan? He goes, well, yeah, I guess I did.
I'm
So
almost kind of
funny.
wondering too if Rebecca gets an offer to sell the team, and I kind of wonder if at the end of the season she's gonna sell the team, and her and Ted are gonna move back to America to be with Henry.
Maybe Jack buys it.
No, because Edward, when you can read the synopsis for the next episode, Edward Akufu shows up again in the
Is
next
that
episode.
Sam's dad?
No, that's the guy that wanted to buy Sam to be on the Nigerian national team.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And when Sam turned it down, he was like, I'm going to buy your child at home and shit in every room. So,
yeah, that guy was intense.
and they thought that he was going to buy the team when he came the first time. So,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's 3 episodes left, so they got to fucking wrap it up.
because the whole team, all the players go home and play for their national teams, and Edwin Akufu comes snooping around again. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. I hope the last episode is like 2 hours long. I don't want it to be some quick hour send off.
I agree.
It'd be nice. I don't think it'll be 2 hours, but maybe we can get an hour and 20 minutes or something. That'd be great.
Dude, my house just got hot as fuck, dude. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's because Max is here again.
Oh, yeah.
But all right, well, I think we pretty much covered Ted Lasso. We covered Guardians 3. Lopez, I'm telling you, man, they've been making Ted and Rebecca work this whole time. It's just gonna.
I'm with
it's gonna
Darth
be one
Lopez
of
here.
those things that happen.
Collimate.
I don't see it.
It's all gonna come together, and the puzzle pieces are gonna fit, and you're gonna be like, "Why didn't I see that to begin with? What's going on?" You know?
He's
Dude,
been grooming her with cookies for 3 seasons.
Yep.
I got to tell you, man, like you and JP talk about how hot she is, and I don't find her that attractive, but
Yeah, I don't get
damn,
it.
her
Oh, she's
body
so
is
hot.
fucking. She was wearing some dress at like 2 episodes again. I'm like, holy shit! For an older woman, you're fit as fuck.
Dude, she's banging. When you see her walk away all pissed off in this episode from behind, she's banging, dude. 10 out of 10 would smash. And let my wife watch and have no regrets.
Same guy that was calling She-Hulk dummy thick.
She is dummy thick. Rebecca's dummy thick too. I still can't get over Kelly's 5-head though.
I don't know.
That's hilarious.
I like Rebecca's friend the most. She's probably
Oh, sassy?
sassy.
Sassy Smurf.
Yep.
The only thing I've like about this season that has been kind of like a head scratcher for me is Dr. Sharon. Like she's in the first episode
and you don't
she
see her
shows
again.
up again. Yeah, and then you don't see her again. I'm kind of expecting her to make a big like comeback. Like,
And apparently she's sleeping with her patients now.
I kind of
Well,
feel
I don't know
like
if that was a patient, but that was weird.
I kind of almost feel like Ted's ex-wife got engaged in France, but I almost wonder if like Beard, if there's gonna be something where like she reached out to check on Henry and Beard answered the phone and told her not to tell him and to play it off, and that there's gonna be something where he finds out that she actually is engaged that kind of sets him off, that brings him back into the fold, and then kind of
Dude,
like closes this all up.
you brought up something. I thought we were winding down, but you brought up a can of worms here. I hate that she's dating their therapist.
Yeah.
That is so. My wife is a therapist, and like I don't have the education she does, but I understand some of the rules, and I'm like, that is so unethical, right, hon? And she's like, yes.
Yeah, he has a right
that
to
is
be pissed off.
extremely unethical.
That was
That
the
is
guy that was
so not
supposed to help
okay.
them save their marriage, and then starts dating
Mhm.
his wife.
Yeah, dude, it is so messed up. Like I think my wife was telling me that like in their like legally for it might be Arizona law, and I could be wrong about this, but the idea is you have to have 2 years of separation before you can have a relationship with an ex-client. And like most therapists are like, even then, that's so freaking wrong. But they've even said the show it was 18 months, and Ted was trying to play that off of it as if that's okay. I'm like, 18 months ago, this guy was trying to help save your marriage, and now he's banging your ex-wife. That's so wrong. It just drives me crazy. Makes me really dislike Henry's mom. What's her name? I don't know if they named her. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like the therapist even more. Dave or whatever. He's a douche.
Yeah, I can't think of his wife's name right now, but they do name her in there quite a
They
bit.
do.
But I don't know, man.
Henry's a cute kid though.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that his dad works for Richmond. He's wearing a West Ham jersey.
Right. You clicked into
funny.
Ted Lasso, Kyle. Get on
Yeah,
with the
boy.
program.
Ted Lasso talk.
But all right, well, I mean, you want to talk about anything else, Max? I'll give you the floor since you came back.
The mighty return.
I mean, I'll briefly just say that I loved Jedi Survivor. I finished the game on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you all. Loved the story. It takes a while to pick up, though. I'll say the first... I mean, it's good, but like the first 2/3 of it, I'm like, yeah, the story's okay, but the first game story was better. And then something happens about 2/3 through the story, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then
Yeah, dude, I've been invested, dude. Like I got past the part on the ship or whatever where his you're like flying away after you just stole some like
on Coruscant.
Yeah, like the first level.
Yeah, the first level's great.
You're flying through this big tunnel or whatever. I'm like, dude, this game's fucking awesome. The combat style is way more progressed than it was last game.
Yeah, it's better for sure. Yeah, graphically it's more impressive. Obviously the music's great. The voice acting is awesome. They allow you to customize Cal's look more, and I love that. Like you can find collectibles throughout the world, and I found like not a super long beard, but like a decently bushy beard for Cal. So I got this redheaded bushy beard. I've got like long shaggy hair, not super long, but like, you know, maybe down past his ears, shaggy hair. And it just allows me, and you get to dress him though you want to, and it allows you to create this version of Cal, even though there's not a ton of decisions in the game. It allows you to create your version of Cal that I'm like, yeah, this is what I feel like he would be like. And I've always felt like Cal, it would be this rugged Jedi. And so I dressed him to be a more rugged looking Jedi. And I just, I'm loving this game, man. I like I said, I beat it a week ago, but I'm still playing it every day so I can go back and get all the collectibles and get every achievement. Just, you know, I think this one's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's a great game. But
you played it, Matt?
Absolutely horrible.
I've not, no. I've
It's
kind of
good, man.
Other things came up. The state of video games right now is a sad, sorry state of affairs. If you ask me, like, there's so many games that have come out that have just been lackluster and underperforming. And I loved the first game, and I will probably eventually play this one. But like right now, the game has to be like incredible or a franchise that I'm really invested in for me to spend $70 on a game. Like 60, okay, but now you're wanting 70 on a game. It's like I really have to leave it. Like Redfall. I was stoked for Redfall. That game came out dog shit.
I haven't even played it. The reviews are so bad. I just haven't even tried it.
Yeah, and it's an Xbox, and I'm so glad it's on Game Pass because if I would have bought that game, I'd be absolutely pissed. Like
Same.
Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, I just bought that worth every penny of that $70.
Yeah,
so far.
I've heard it's a masterpiece, man. I
And
don't have a Switch.
I loved the first one so much that like I'm so
Which one?
invested in it. The Legend of Zelda,
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, yeah. So I'm all good with that, but just spending $70 in games right now. So I'm very, very like cautious. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that the Resident Evil 4 remake was only 60, and I loved that game. I thought it was fantastic for a remake. But like I'm with everything I've heard from credible people that I trust when it comes to video games and saying, man, the performance issues
Oh, they're awful. Dude.
on
See, I'm not experiencing any of that on
Survivor.
I'm not experiencing any of that on PlayStation.
If you play on console, it's been better recently. I mean, there's other issues on console. I still prefer my PC, but it has been a bit better on console. Like Hogwarts Legacy was another big release, and I loved that game. Holy crap, did I love that game! But for me, that was worth every penny of the $70 that I spent on it. But on PC, and I have pretty high-end hardware, it ran inexcusably bad at launch. Luckily, they had certain, features in there. I've got a 4080, so I can take advantage of frame generation, which you can only do on the latest NVIDIA graphics cards. And so that helped. Like, if I couldn't have turned on the frame generation stuff, I would have been getting like, I don't know, 45 frames a second or something in the demanding areas, where instead I was able to get more like 70. So it was a nice smooth experience for me, but I had to pay $1,200 on a nice graphics card in order to have a smooth experience in a video game. That's absurd, man. Someone who spent $1,200 to build their whole computer isn't going to have a very good experience. That sucks. That's a lot of money still.
Well, especially on a machine where your shit can push a lot of high frame rate, and you're not even getting 30 frames a second. Like
Jedi Survivor was awful, dude. So like I just upgraded my CPU and it's gotten better now, but I had a 3700X paired with my 4080, and the 3700X is like 2 or 3 generations old now at this point. It's a fairly old CPU, so I get it. It's not a current CPU, but I played the whole game on that, and I barely could get over 30 frames a second in the game. That's not just that it's an old CPU. That's bad optimization. Because now I have a 5800X3D, which is one of the best CPUs that you can buy from AMD still, even with the newest generation out. And I can still barely get over 60 a lot of the time. Like, it's just not, a lot of PC games are not well optimized, and it's a bummer. And I'm trying to stop like counting frames because that's counterproductive. But so I've turned off my frame counter a lot of the time, but I can tell still to this day, I'll go into certain areas and I'm like, oh, whoa, that's chugging. And I'll turn my frame counter back on and I'm like, oh, it's 30 FPS now.
Yeah. Plus, I have other games I've bought that I still haven't finished God of War Ragnarok yet.
That game was good.
I haven't finished Horizon Forbidden West yet.
Oh, I just finished the DLC for that a couple weeks ago.
I've still got games that I need to finish, but
yeah. I'm actually surprised God of War Ragnarok didn't like super grip me. I liked it and I beat the story, but I had no interest to do any of the side content. I think I bumped the game down to easy and I did it on normal. But I didn't do like any of the side content because I just didn't care.
Like now that Tears of the Kingdom is out, like the next big game I'm looking forward to is Spider-Man 2.
Starfield and Spider-Man 2. Oh,
Starfield's never coming.
And
never coming.
September, man.
No,
and Final Fantasy 16. I am looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. So I'm like in a different boat than you. You're like upset with the state of video games. I'm upset with the state of PC performance on video games. Very upset with that. But so far, 2023 has been a really good year for like gaming for me. There's been multiple good releases. I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, Spider-Man 2.
Nerd.
I'm a huge nerd. I'm so excited.
I love your optimism if you think Starfield's coming out, because that
I do,
game is
man.
just going to keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
I do. I think it'll come out this year. I think it's going to come out. I think it might get pushed from the September date it has, but I think it'll come out.
I mean, look, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League
that
keeps
looks
getting
awful.
pushed.
That looks
Yeah,
so
all
bad.
these games keep getting pushed, and like Midnight Suns had so much hype around it. That game come out, and that game sucked. And it's just like it's hard, man. It's hard to get excited about video games right now, because unless like it's a franchise you know and trust, like God of War or even Horizon, it's just been rough going. It's rough to throw a $70 investment into a property and franchise that you're not familiar with or not. That's just kicking off.
I think
Like
you're
I said,
pretty safe.
I love the first that first Star Wars game, but Fallen Order, but I have not picked up Jedi Survivor yet, and have not really had an interest in it until I hear that the performance issues have.
Yeah. Well, if you buy it on one of your consoles, you should be fine. I'm assuming you have a PS5.
Oh, I have a PS4 or a PS5. I have an Xbox Series X. I've got all that.
It works. It works fine on both of those. But now you've got Tears of the Kingdom, dude. That's going to keep you occupied for the next month. You don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like everything I've been, if not longer, everything I'm hearing is it's a 70-hour minimum game. It's like ridiculous.
A speed player just beat it in 95 minutes.
Yeah, but that's a speedrunner. Most average gamers are gonna take their time on
explore, and that's like going from the beginning right till the end of the game. Like
I'm just saying, 95 minutes.
Yeah, you probably, because you can do that in the first one as well. I think even without glitching, you could just with 3 hearts go straight to Ganon's castle and fight him. That's probably what they did in this game. But I don't know.
Stoked for it though.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I had. I really enjoyed Jedi Survivor. So if you guys have $70 that you're willing to spend on a video game and you like Star Wars, I recommend it.
There you go. All right. What about you, Lance? Got anything else?
Marvelous Miss Maisel's been awesome. Love that show. I don't really got it. Dude, I've been so fucking busy with work, man. I don't got time for shit.
I hear you.
I'm going to Idaho on Tuesday for a big conference.
You're gonna go be a potato farmer.
I know.
Your
dude,
company
all the places
is established in Wisconsin. They have their own zip code in Wisconsin. Why are you going to Idaho for a conference?
Because I work for the West region, so we only go to the states that. So we have 3 different regions, and we're going to a Western state. And last year we went to Vegas. The year before that it was Colorado. The year before that it was COVID. No, wait. COVID was in the middle of Colorado and Vegas, and then it was Arizona. This year it's Idaho. Probably next year it'll be Washington or Utah. It's always a Western state. I've worked for my company for 8 years now, and I still have never been to the home office. Everybody I work with's been there, except for me. I've never had a reason to go.
Oh man, that's too bad. I finally got to go to my home office a year ago. That was cool. I've been a second time.
Yeah, there's just hasn't been a reason for me to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always a Western state. I just brought this up with somebody I work with today. I was like, dude, why can't we go somewhere cool like fucking Chicago or...
Nope, you're gonna go to Idaho and be a potato farmer.
One of my coworkers was bringing that up, and I'm definitely going to back her up on this feedback. So we have an annual sales conference, and for the last many years, they've done it in Annapolis, Maryland, which is it is a cool place to do it. But my coworker's talking to me about it. She's like, when I worked for other companies, they did these things in Tampa Bay. They do them in Hawaii sometimes. They do them in like Chicago. They do cool cities. Let's do something cool. Not Annapolis every time. The reason we do it in Annapolis is because our headquarters are in Baltimore, and it's like 30 minutes away, and it's easy for the majority of people who live in Baltimore. But those of us who are West Coasters are like, well, if we have to fly out 10 hours, let's go somewhere real cool.
Yeah, but we have a lot of fun there. I mean, I get to see a lot of people I only get to see once a year, and we go to the karaoke bar and have some fun at night and stuff. So it'll be fun. Part that sucks though is my personal trainer was like, hey, you're going to Idaho. I want you in the hotel gym on these nights.
Why are you
doing
paying
these things
for a personal trainer?
Sometimes you need someone to help get your butt in gear.
because I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I've never worked out a day in my life.
Fucking money, bro.
It's not that bad. It's like 120.
What gym are you going to?
EOS.
Yeah, dude. Think of all that $120 you could be spending on something else.
But dude, this guy worked me so bad, dude. I threw up at the end of our workout.
That's
Like
because
I
you're
puked my
soft.
brains out. I haven't worked out ever. I don't know what I'm doing. So it's a commitment of 4 months. I'm gonna learn what to do, and then I'm gonna fucking do it on my own.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money, dude.
Yeah, I hope it works out for you.
You could literally like just change your diet, count your macros, and lift weights and see crazy results versus
I just don't have
probably
the
all the high
drive, dude.
intensity training that
This guy's fucking like yelling at me. He's like, come on, 3 more. And then I can do 3 more. Come on, 2 more. You said 3, you motherfucker.
Well, sometimes that's what you need, man. I get it. Like I did.
I get it, but I'm just like
I tried to change my lifestyle last year. I dropped 50 pounds and I've put 40 of it back on, man. No, not 40, 35 of it back on. Like,
yeah, I've done the eating well thing, like you've seen, Max. I lost 70 pounds before COVID. Like I was doing really good, but then it all just comes back. So I'm like, well, now I need like a lifestyle change, and eating that way is not sustainable. You know what I mean?
It really isn't. It's so hard.
No, but if I can do the working out is sustainable, right? So if I could eat good now, work out, and then eat whatever I want, but I'm still working out when I get to my goal or whatever, like that's sustainable.
I guess it's kind of like, is it though? Because you're gonna get trapped in that loop. So you're doing good now, but then something's gonna happen with one of your kids or your wife where you have to miss a day, and then you're gonna find an excuse. Then that's gonna give you an excuse to miss another day, and then before you know, it's gonna be like, I haven't been to the gym in a month. You know, it takes a lot.
Yeah, but you can always start back up. But like getting back into eating, that's hard, man. Like that's hard. Like a month of not eating. Because you see these people that work out, like sometimes they'll go a month without working out and then they get right, it's begrudgingly, but they get right back into it. Especially if I'm paying for a gym membership, you better believe I'm going to fucking go back.
A bit.
Yeah. It's kind of like with school, dude. I was an awful high school student, but that shit was free. Then I went to college and now I have a 3.8 because I'm paying for that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I'm like, oh, like, if I pay for this and I don't do well, then I just threw money down the drain. I think it's the same for a gym. But I don't know. We'll see, dude. I'm fucking just trying, dude. I need to get in shape. I want to be here another 30, 40 years for my kids.
Yeah, man. I'm rooting for you.
I don't blame you. I feel you. I feel what you're saying, man.
Yeah, and all 3 of us are big dudes. Matt and I more than Max, I think.
I'm just not going to sit there and fucking pay some dude to scream at me when I can just go lift weights and be good. But I 100% agree with what you're saying, that the eating like super clean and low calorie is not sustainable.
No, dude. Dude, I lost 70 pounds and gained it all back in 6 months. Once COVID hit, I gained it all back. And there was no drive to go back. And now, even when I try to go back, like I can't. But this guy is also a nutritionist, so he's also like telling me what to eat. I've got his personal phone number. I can text him at any time. No, his name's Sterling. He's like 22 and built like a freaking truck.
Yeah, man.
I saw this dude and I'm like, oh, this dude's going to kill me. This dude is going to take joy in giving me a heart attack. Dude, I was sitting on the chair. He's like, come on, man, breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, breathe through your nose, out through your mouth. And all I could think in my head was like, shut the fuck up. I'm focusing. I'm focusing here on not dying. No, first time. It was my first day though, dude. And he kicked my ass. Dude, I go to sit on the toilet today and my father-in-law used to live in our house. So he had, like, my master bedroom has these bars next to the toilet because he was a big dude. And I'm struggling to sit on the toilet and like practically crying because my legs fucking hurt so bad. Because he made me do these things where you jump up on a ledge and step down, and I'm holding this fucking 50-pound kettlebell or whatever, and just going up this ledge, down, up this ledge, down, and then this thing where you pull a rope, and then this thing you take a 15 or 20 pound medicine ball and you're slamming it into the ground.
Mm.
Dude, it fucking kills. He shows me the workout. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. They get 20 seconds in. I'm like, fuck this.
Just wait till you start lifting weights and squatting and shit like that. Then you're really gonna feel it.
Yeah. But dude, like,
I'm proud of you, man. Keep it up.
I need a dramatic change. I just don't feel good ever.
Just go to Mexico and pay $5,000 to get stomach surgery.
That's what my buddy Eric did. Did I tell you that, Max? That Eric
Yeah, I
Richardson
knew.
did that?
I knew about that. Yeah,
He lost a shit ton of weight. It was $4,000 that he spent, but
I'm thinking about
there
doing
can be a lot of complications with it.
It's
That's
only
just-
$4,000.
he and his 2 siblings both did it, and everything was fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because they're like American doctors. They're just down there because they don't want to pay malpractice insurance.
No, I get it. I'm just saying it can. Like I had a friend do it last year, and he had months of recovery issues from it. Just
Well, it's a tough, like, that's a tough surgery for anybody. Like, even here,
Yeah.
Like, they're basically, do they cut your stomach or they're just putting like a band on it? Matt?
Well, there's 2 different ways. They can do the lap band where they just put a band like around the entrance to your stomach to make it smaller, or they do they cut like a piece of your stomach off and then sew it up and reattach everything. That's the lap band is the one where they put the band on where it's adjustable. Like they can go in and adjust it and loosen it and tighten it. But it's actually when you have gastric bypass, that's when they actually like cut a portion of your stomach out.
The
yeah, I
problem
know
is
they can
when
make you sick if you eat too much. And...
yeah, you throw it up, you get like acid reflux and stuff. Reflux. That's a potential. But I know a guy that did it, and 4 or 5 years later, he was back to his big weight. So your stomach expands again.
Yeah. If you're not like,
be careful
it's
with
not a fix, man. It's meant to be a tool. It's just a tool to help you. So like it helps you. It basically takes away the hardest part. It makes it so you drop weight quickly so that all that weight is off your joints. So you feel better. So you're moving better and you can actually do it. And then you're supposed to put in the work
faster.
Right. And you're supposed to put in the work of maintaining that. And it helps, but a lot of people don't. They just go right back to that lifestyle. That's why when it comes to, this is not really a podcast topic, but when it comes to weight loss, there's usually some underlying trauma there in your life that has caused you to balloon up to that big. So you kind of got to work the mental aspect of it as well as
That's what my wife and I have been talking about. Is like
the
working
food
on our
aspect and
relationship with food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to your wife about that.
Yeah.
Max.
I want to talk to your wife about that.
She does this like hypnotherapy stuff that she's supposed to do on me that we need to actually do, Max. But like, I know a lot of mine is trauma. Like I've told Max before, like we go out and I eat like a fucking bird. Then when I get home, I fucking gorge myself because I was punished as a kid for eating too much. So I would hide food and I would hide my eating from people. And now I fucking look at it as an adult. I do the same fucking thing. I don't let people see me eat. So it looks like I don't eat a lot. And then I get home and I fucking, if I take
That's
leftovers
bullshit. I've
home,
been to
I fucking eat it.
Rodesi's with you. I've seen you eat a lot.
Oh,
When
but
he's
you're paying
comfortable-
that much money.
and if you're comfortable with somebody, you'll act like yourself. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like you eat like a bird around me.
Yeah, I'm also like around 2 of my best friends that fucking
Are also
are
big.
just as large as I am. So there's no fucking judgment. And none of our wives are tiny either. So like it's always the 6 of us going to Rodicio's, and
You just keep fucking digging that ditch, Lance. You keep digging that ditch, man.
No, I just I'm fucking
You're
just
so
talking
lucky
about-
your wife don't hear this.
Oh,
I'm
she
sure
hears
I'll
me.
hear
She's
about
standing
this.
outside the door telling me to hurry the fuck up.
I'm sure.
I
She
just
knows.
heard her
We
yell
just
at
talk
you.
about it. We talk about it. She knows. I don't tell her I love her the way she is, but she's not tiny. She had 5 kids. Like it's understandable. It's understandable.
That's over here like shut up.
I have no fucking excuses. I just eat like a fucking cow. I have no excuses. And I
Yeah.
sit in this chair too goddamn much.
Yeah, that's what my brother and I were talking about. He does construction still, and he's like, I tell you, I'm so happy I do construction because it naturally keeps him thin. He's a
Yeah,
thin
but your
guy.
brother also has like, your brother's also built that way. Like,
Yeah, he is. He is.
he has a better metabolism than you do.
For sure. I've got a couple of siblings that just have really good metabolisms, and they're just really skinny.
Like Charisse is tiny.
Charisse is the other one I was thinking of. And no one in my family is large, like except for me. I'm the only one really in the family that's like overweight.
Yeah.
Which is why I gotta figure out some mental stuff. I don't think I've got any trauma, but maybe there's something there. Maybe I need to dig in. This is riveting nerd podcast talk.
Yeah.
Max is like the one person that I know that truly just has an affinity for food. Like, mine is trauma based, but I just think Max, you love food. Like,
I do, and I've also developed a unhealthy habit of using food to cope with emotional problems.
yeah.
Had a bad day at work, food. Stressed out, food. Really happy, food. That's an issue. I constantly turn to it, no matter what the emotion, positive or negative. I turn to food.
Like Max and I, like we'll hang out or something. It always revolves around food. Like I can go out, like for instance, I go out with my bandmates and we don't eat for like 8 hours, and I don't even realize I'm not eating because I'm having so much fun. But Max, you gotta fit a meal in the middle there somewhere. Like Max,
it's true. That does come from my upbringing. So like Kelsey would joke with me when we got married. She's like, "You guys go on vacation and everything is about the next meal, and you're planning activities in between the next time you're going to eat." And it is true. And it's funny that no one else in my family really is overweight. I think it's a matter of like, they all developed good habits of working out more and being active, and I didn't. I was a teenager and was naturally active. I did sports and all this stuff. And then I stopped doing sports at the age of 15 and started doing theater, and immediately I developed a small belly. But even still, I was a teenager. My metabolism was good. I still moved around. I'd go play capture the flag with friends. And then I was a missionary for my church, and I walked like 20 miles a day, and I ate like a mountain on my mission. But I was walking 20 miles a day, plus I was 20 years old. So my metabolism was good. Then I get home from that mission and I'm starting to get older. I get a desk job, boom, all that weight. Like I
and
put
when
on
you're
100
not
pounds or
working your
whatever.
desk job, you're sitting on your chair playing video games.
Exactly. So last
doing
year I was doing
podcasts.
so good. I was walking like 2 or 3 times a week. I was doing push-ups every morning. I was eating really well. And then
Playing dodgeball.
I was playing dodgeball, and then I just fell off. So gotta get back to it.
But yeah, it's so funny. I'm like, all right, Max, what time do you want to go see the movie? He's like, well, let's go at 7 so we can get food before. And I'm like, dude, you're going to fill up in popcorn in the movie theater. Like, why do we have to go get food before? But whatever you want,
meal.
Dude.
I want a meal.
But me, like Anna kind of does the same thing. Like, she's like, well, can we go see the movie at this time so we get food before? I was like, then I'm not going to eat my popcorn. And that's what I fucking look forward to is my popcorn.
Yeah. I get crap about my popcorn addiction. And it's real. It's a real addiction. I was watching Air earlier today, and I air popped some popcorn. Boom. It's right here next to me.
I don't think that's the Air they're referring to in the movie.
No.
I'm kind of swearing off basketball right now. So I haven't brought myself to watch Air.
Because the Suns suck.
The Suns are a fantastic team. They made it to the second round of the playoffs. I'm not a big fan of saying this team sucks when they're literally one of the elite. But they did fail, and they
got
no. Here's my issue. Here's my issue. So on Twitter today, I'm on Twitter, and the Suns put out a thing. The Suns put out a tweet, or it might have been Instagram. I don't know what it was, but they're like, "Thank you so much to our fans for coming out every day and showing your effort and enthusiasm." And then I responded, "Well, if only the team could do the same." Because were they taking naps out there?
Well, dude, DeAndre Ayton became a fucking meme.
Yeah. Good old Ayton.
He's a meme.
Down by 30 points, dude. I barely watched the game because I was at the fucking gym. But I kept checking it up on my phone. I was like, 81 to 51? Like, they're professional basketball players.
Yeah, dude, I tuned out pretty quick. I didn't end
You are professional fucking basketball players. How can you let somebody just fucking...
Aren't you glad you didn't spend a bunch of money to go to that game now?
Oh, man. That would be really disappointing. to go to a
It's ridiculous
closeout
how much
game
they're-
and not just lose, but to get steamrolled, man.
And it still wasn't as bad as last year when we lost to the Dallas Mavericks. It still wasn't as bad. By the middle of the third quarter, the Suns had only scored 36 points in that game.
Oh, that's so bad.
By the middle of the third quarter, 36 points. We were down by like 45, I think, at one point in a closeout fucking game. This is why Monty Williams needs to go. This is why Chris Paul needs to go. This is why DeAndre Ayton needs to go.
You can't blame Chris Paul. Chris Paul's hurt. Like,
no, but Chris Paul's just slow now. I'm not blaming Chris Paul. He's a floor general. He's just slow. You need somebody that can. You need a Steph Curry that can run up and down the floor.
I do agree. I think we need speed in our point guard.
And DeAndre Ayton has no motor, dude. You watch him out there, and I'm like, you're bigger than most of the guys on the court. Why are you not making them your?
And he's like 24, 25 years old. He's young. He should be spry.
Yeah. Why are you not making these? Like, you can tell he takes plays. There's times when the ball hits the rim, comes up, and you don't even see DeAndre Ayton attempt to go after the rebound. You're the fucking center, dude. That is your main job, is to get boards, and they don't get them. Or you box people out. You're not boxing people out.
But there are so many times I see not boxing out. It drives me crazy.
And
Suns
then you
are
watch
really bad at that.
Yeah, and then you watch Sabonis or any of these other guys that are boxing people. We almost got Sabonis, if you remember. Like we were trying to make a trade for him, and you watch them with their effort and everything, and then you have DeAndre Ayton, a number 1 pick that just got paid, and he's acting like he's like Jacques Landale, the 3rd string center on their bench, put in more effort. Bismack Biyombo put in more effort than the number 1 pick of the draft. What, 3 years ago? It was just, I think it's selfish, dude. Like the whole team, with respects to Booker, because Booker played every night, no matter what. He had a twisted ankle in this game and still played.
Yeah, my thing with Booker, and I'm not really blaming him so much, is they need to work on their dynamic next season, because he often was just taking the ball in all by himself, not even using his team at all.
Oh yeah.
And we were still winning, but that's not how you play the game. You
bet
work
the
as a
farm. You sold the farm for Kevin Durant, and it probably was not
they
the
gave
best
up
decision.
They gave up picks, and the end result would have been the same if Mikal Bridges was there and not Kevin Durant. We would have still, because you remember we had that team last year and got blown out by the Dallas Mavericks, who were not as good of a team as us. This team was better than us.
The Nuggets are a good team.
The Nuggets are a better team.
I didn't know you played for the Suns.
Because
Shut
he said
up.
we.
You talk about the Packers the same way. When are we gonna fucking draft a wide receiver? Fuck you.
Hey, when you own the team, when you're the owner of the team, you could say that, all right?
I've been watching the Suns. Is my earliest memory of a sports game. Like I went to a Suns game when I was 3 years old.
Yeah, Suns are.
Like, that is the Suns, more than any other team in the state of Arizona, is our team. Like, everything else has been transplants or whatever, but the Suns have been here longer than I've been alive, since 68, I think.
You don't want to complain. You don't want to actually take a team that's fucking done something like the Diamondbacks. You choose to hang your fucking hat on the Suns.
No, but the Diamondbacks came to be in like 1999 or something like that. I think what you're getting at, Lance, is literally our whole lives. The Suns have been our team.
The Suns have been here.
The Diamondbacks, are great. I love the Diamondbacks. I mean,
the Diamondbacks are the youngest team in MLB history to win a World Series. They won it 2001 after being an organization for just 4 years.
Still my happiest.
They haven't done shit
history.
since. They haven't done shit since.
Yeah.
And even this year,
a good team, man.
Yeah, even this year they started getting off on a good foot, and then are starting to fuck it up a little bit too. But
speaking of getting off on a good foot, you guys good? You want to continue this conversation?
Yeah, we can
offline.
We can get off the podcast.
Boring people. We haven't had a comment in like the last 15 minutes.
All right. Well, I thank everyone for stopping by, hanging out in the chat. Darth Lopez, Hartman, Kyle, Patrick, Joe's doing, everyone out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll thank you, Max, for coming on and joining us and rejoining the stupidity again. And we'll catch you guys You know, and I on our track record. Whenever we see you again, maybe next week, maybe not the week after. Who knows?
All you freaks and geeks.
I think we need a live performance on this one.
Come on, you freaks. Yeah,
Let's listen to Absolute
Geek.
We'll go ahead and spread our cheeks and drink
And
some
over for
Cosby wine.
We'll
Come
drink
on,
some
you
Cosby wine. It makes me feel real fine. See you